Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2018 and the fourth part of this experiment where we take every player out of every team in all of the top 22 leagues and give them maximum reputation and our maximum finances as well. So plenty of changes overall. Today we're going to go forward 1 year and then 2 more years for a total of 3 years. That will take us up to the year 2022, 5 years through this experiment, and then after that I think we'll probably go 5 years ahead in the next experiment. But let me know how you would like this to progress, or if you would like to progress at all. Maybe it's time to bring it to an end, I don't know. Drop a like on the video though if you do want to see more from this. Now the reason I'm on the world page here, we're where we left off last time, but somebody pointed out to me that this does list the major transfers, major players, major clubs, all of that information. You can also see that Uruguay actually won the World Cup in 2018, which is quite funny. The third time they've won that competition now. And Brazil, the top national side in the world. But you can see at the top of the major clubs, 3 Swedish teams in the top 3. And a lot of Swedish teams throughout, which is quite impressive. And somebody pointed out that the reason that maybe the Swedish teams are doing so well, and also thank you to those that explained how the Swedish system works. Go look at the comments if you want to know how the Swedish divisional system works. But the reason the Swedish teams are doing so well is because they have so many greyed out players, and those greyed out players are set to the kind of level of performance of their league's reputation. So if the league is the best league in the world, which at the moment it still is, all of those greyed out players are effectively the best players in the world, which is why these Swedish teams, despite not signing many people, have so many great players. If we have a look at Huddinge IF, they're all greyed out. That's why they're so doing so well and so highly reputable. Tony Cruz, their only really big player, or only real player actually, as their club captain. But you can see also where most of the best players in the world are. Cristiano Ronaldo at Brighton at the moment. He's been there a little while now, 34 years old. He won't be there for too much longer, but he'll probably retire there, I imagine. Neymar at Arsenal, we're aware of that. Messi at Nice. I think, did he transfer to Nice? He did, from Crystal Palace for just 49 million, an absolute steal there by Nice. De Bruyne is at Spurs, Suarez at Marseille, Neuer at IK Sirius. I think somebody made the joke, are you serious? But apparently so. Lewandowski at Swansea, Griezmann at Karlstad. Has he been there the whole time? I can't remember even looking for Griezmann. No, he did move from Aston Villa, which looked more familiar to me, for £82 million. Higuain at Montpellier, Sanchez at Lorient, Gareth Bale's down at Aldershot, absolute legend. He moved there from Arsenal, from the Premier League to the Vanarama National for £59 million. Tony Cruz, we've seen already. Aguero at Everton, Pogba at Monaco, Courtois at Juve, Isco at Lyon, and Sergio Ramos at Brighton as well. So they've got a Real Madrid contingent at the club. Big transfers here if we view all transfers. This is from March 2019. The trouble with the world transfer page, somebody did point out to me that I should use this, but the trouble is that you can only look at it month by month and not across a year, which means that yes, there are all these transfers going on, but I'd have to flick through each individual player, which, to be honest, I'd rather just go through the leagues and look at their transfers there. So that's just a little catch up on some stuff people had asked about. If you've got other things you want to see in this experiment, do let me know down in the comments. Sometimes I record these in advance, so apologies if I don't address your comment in the next episode, but it will be addressed before this experiment does end. So let me know if there's things that you want to see down below. But let's go forward now 1 year in time and see who is winning the big leagues and the Champions League. Well, we are now 1 year into the future, and you can see that Burnley have won the Premier League, 3 points clear of Everton, Liverpool and Spurs finishing out the top 4. You got Manchester United down in 8th, Brighton with Cristiano Ronaldo are in 7th, and all the other big teams no longer in the Premier League. So quite interesting the way that's finished up. You can also see here in the competition reputation rankings just how well all of these English leagues are doing. They're dominating at the top there. Swedish leagues are down here too. Some of them are starting to drop off, so Serbia have dropped down to just a 4-star league, falling quite quickly as well, maybe because their teams aren't doing so well in European competitions. But interesting to see Burnley, the Premier League winners. If we drop down to the Sky Bet Championship and have a look at who's won that competition, you can see the holders currently Sunderland. If we have a look at the league table, you can see Man City did get promoted, finishing in 2nd place. But Newcastle relegated down to League One. not able to hold their position, and Chelsea sitting in mid-table in 11th place. In League One, which Newcastle will soon be in, you can see Bradford and Gateshead, one of the non-league teams when we started this, have moved up and will be going into the Championship soon. Grimsby finished in 4th place. Interesting note about Grimsby, they're currently the most reputable club in the entire world, which is quite impressive. If we have a look at their transfer history for this season, you can see they have spent some money. Sam Gallagher, Kai, Marshall, Gray. Nothing too big though. 28 million going out. 115 million going out, 28 million coming in. But somehow they are the most reputable club in the world. Teams going down, nothing too surprising. I think this league and the lower leagues yet really to take full shape. It will take 5, if not 10 years until we see big names dropping this far down. Wigan getting back up into League One, Coventry and Exeter joining them. Down in the National League, obviously we don't have these leagues loaded, but you can see here Bognor Regis winning that, Alfreton winning the North and Brackley winning South. In the FA Cup, Maidenhead were the winners of the FA Cup over Chippenham, and in the Carabao Cup, Burnley doing the double, beating Spurs to that. So doing very well really, the big English teams there. If we have a look at the profile, look at what the next most reputable league is. We can see Ligue 1 of France is the next big league. Who's won that this time? It is PSG that have won the title. I don't know if they won it last year as well, did they? No, it was Nice who won it the year before with Messi in their team. But PSG have won the title, and by quite a margin as well. So re-establishing their dominance at the top of the French league. In Ligue 2, it was won by Brest, Auxerre down there, Dunkirk and Nimes getting relegated. And in the French National, nothing too much to look at there because that league is not loaded. Spanish First Division, I think Barcelona won this last time that we checked, and they have won it this time as well, but only by 1 point ahead of Celta Vigo, with Girona and Malaga in there as well. I've probably butchered all those names. Sevilla finishing bottom of the league though, quite interesting. The year before Barca did win it, with Girona winning it the year before that. So Barcelona establishing their position at the top, but very tight, 1 point. 2 points, separating the top 4. A bit of a gap then down to the other teams, with Real Madrid in 6th. And then the Spanish Second Division, you can see Lugo there winning the title ahead of Villarreal. I think Lugo probably a Spanish third tier side when this started. The German First Division, Bundesliga, down in 11th place in the rankings. If we look at their stages, then we can see that Hanover are the winners. Bayern falling all the way down to 5th, with Dortmund down in 8th. I think Dortmund were the dominant team up to now, winning it both years until Hanover have come in and absolutely stolen it, with Hoffenheim and Wolfsburg getting relegated. And Second Division I'm not too fussed about, to be honest. In Serie A, I think probably the last league that we'll take a close look at. You can see Juventus, the overall champions this time around. Quite a familiar look to the top end of the table, except for Carpi up there. AC Milan down in 9th, but Juventus have won it every year, I think, and by quite a margin as well. 10 points. Sorry, was that 10 points? 3 points, 1 point, and then this year a 14-point lead at the top of the table. Certainly the most dominant side in Italian football. We'll have a quick look at the Swedish Premier Division, just for you Swedes out there that want to have a look. We will need to go and look at the previous year though, because you're on a different calendar cycle. You can see Hammarby IF did win the title by 2 points, but very, very tight. 4 points separating the top 5. And Sirius have been relegated despite having Manuel Neuer in goal. Whether he's still at the club, I don't know. If we have a look at the transfers, we might see that he has left. Is he there? Murray has left, another great goalkeeper, but I can't see Neuer, so not sure where Neuer has got to. I've definitely spelt Neuer wrong there. There he is. He's at Hanover, the German league title winners. How much did he move there for? Just 6.25 million. An absolute steal for Manuel Neuer there. I don't even think he's that old for a goalkeeper. He's only 34, so he's got a few years left in him. But let's have a look at the big transfers across the world. And as you can see, The biggest team in the world is currently Grimsby, a couple of Swedish teams, then some more English ones. You've got Neymar still at Arsenal, Messi still at Nice, but Cristiano Ronaldo has moved to Juventus, winning himself an Italian league title. Just £10 million for Ronaldo. Juve definitely spending money wisely there. Lewandowski and De Bruyne still at the same places. De Gea now showing up, he's at Barcelona. Eden Hazard's gone to Nice as well. Griezmann now at PTAIF, which I think is a different team to the one he was at before. Bale's still at Aldershot though. Courtois now at Juve as well. If we look at Griezmann, he has stayed at PTA, moving from Karlstad. 82 million and then just 19.5 million. He has moved club there since we looked at the start of this episode. So interesting that if we look at the major transfers, you can see if we go back through the months, the big transfers, nothing until March, which is when the Swedish transfer window is open. Thomas Lemar moving Swedish clubs, Højbjerg leaving for Sweden, Keita leaving Liverpool for Sweden, Vietto as well. Quite a few big names down here. Murray going to Sweden, Campbell, any other big names? Mamana, Thiago, João Carvalho leaving Manchester United for 20 odd million. In February, again the Swedish League absolutely cleaning up here. No major names in the transfers that I can see though, because obviously some of the players are starting to age a little bit. But you can see £164 million for Samuel Umtiti from Nice to Manchester United. Dolberg going to Liverpool for 141 as well. And Tolisso going from Roma to West Ham for 124. Several £100 million plus transfers. The month before, in December, not too much happened. In the Swedish League, transfer system seems to just permanently be open, which is maybe why the Swedish teams are doing so well. If we drop back to the summer, you can see some European teams spending a lot of cash. Where did Martial go? He went to Köln from Lyon. Barcelona picking up Inaki Williams. The year before that, Kai Havertz leaving Dresden for Red Bull Leipzig. And 112 million on Victor Lindelof by Everton. Leeds also spending 95 million on Grimaldo. So some big transfers there in June. And then again, it all drops off to where we were before. So those are the big transfers. If we have a look at the Champions League, you can see Burnley, they did the treble, they won the Champions League as well, beating Dortmund in the final. In the semi-finals, Nice were the team they beat, Dortmund beat Köln. Quarter-finals, no massive surprises. Burnley really the big surprise throughout the competition. In the first knockout round, no major surprises in the teams that are there. If we have a look at the Europa League, it was won by a Swedish team, Linköping, who are in the Swedish First Division South. They've managed to win it. They've got some big names there, I think. Lemina and Jardim, currently the manager, only created in 2012, and they've now are going into the Champions League next season after Pitié also won it the year before. This is a Swedes competition now. In the semi-finals, not too many surprises among the teams there. It is starting to rebalance a little bit, I think, this game. Because obviously the big clubs have other benefits like training, youth facilities, stadiums, income. All of that are going to vary and change. So I think we will start to see the leagues rebalancing a little bit. But there are very few surprises in here. Literally just Linköping who've managed to get all the way to the end. So that is going to be it for this year. We're going to go forward 2 years now and just cycle through things a lot quicker than we did on this year. So I'll see you in just a second. Well, we are now a couple of years further ahead in the future. You can see in the Premier League, Burnley did win the competition after Liverpool had won it originally. We saw that last time, but they then retained the title 10 points clear of Everton, with United in third, Arsenal in fourth. Man City got relegated straight back down to the Championship after getting promoted last time around, and Everton did win the Premier League again the following... they took the Premier League from Burnley the following year. Manchester United, they're only 4 points off getting the title for the first time in a long time. Arsenal and Liverpool up there as well. No other major surprises in the Premier League. If we have a look at just the big leagues, really, it's interesting. Liga has risen to second place overall. Annoyingly, the save went forward a little bit too far. But you can see PSG and Monaco, the two teams to win the French league, back to the old tete-a-tete between them. Monaco 2 points clear of PSG, Marseille and Nice further behind. But then PSG winning it by 1 point from Nice. Monaco 3 points behind. Very competitive, a lot more competitive than it was in the past, which is a good thing to take note of. Then we've got all the English teams around them. If we start with the Vanarama National League, and then we can just skip over to... sorry, that's too far down. If we start with League 2, then we can have a look at the profile for that and drop down to a different league. Swedish League is the next biggest league. Currently won by, if we can get it to load, have a look at their league table. It was won by Örebro. Don't know. Dolkerd came second. Malmo getting relegated. But the English and Swedish leagues absolutely cleaning up at the moment, which is quite interesting. I think for England it's because of all the greyed out players in the lower 2 or 3 leagues, but then in the Swedish league it's all the greyed out players across them. You then have Serie A is the next one, and the current holders of that are Inter Milan. But if we go back to the year before, they won it then as well, but they won it on goal difference, 12 points clear. Goal difference, 3 teams on 80 points, and actually Inter had a worse goal difference than Juve, so it must have been on a head-to-head, because they also had less wins than Lazio. That would be a contentious season for the title. Imagine that final day trying to figure out who's won the title, because that's an absolute mess. And then the following year, again, 3 teams on 80 points. 2 years in a row in the Italian league, 3 teams finished on 80 points, and they finished in the same order as well. That's outrageous. How has that happened? They've actually won it on goal difference this time, I think. They had the exact same record as Lazio, but conceded... No, they scored 2 more goals. I thought that was conceded then. And then you've got Juve further behind, who didn't win as many games, but lost fewer. That is unbelievable. I can't believe that actually happened. I've never seen that before. Absolutely sensational stuff in the Italian league. 2 years in a row. Then you've got the Spanish First Division, currently held by Barcelona. They seem to be the dominant team in Spain now, and they have won it the 2 years that we've gone forward, continuing their streak of every year since the first year. Real Madrid, though, back up to second place now, are competing at the top, but still some way behind Barcelona there. You've also got the Bundesliga down in 17th place in the rankings now. I think they might start to struggle a little bit. But Köln did win the title the 2 years since we've gone forward. Bayern now up to second. Dortmund have risen to third as well. But the big teams not quite taking dominance in Germany in the same way that they have in other leagues. We should also have a look at the Portuguese League, just because we haven't in a while. And if we look at the holders of the current title, it is Sporting Porto in second place. No Benfica. Oh no, Benfica down in 6th. I was worried Benfica had been relegated. They had actually won it the year before. Sporting Aves did win it. So Aves, the one team to break the dominance of the big 3 in Portugal, who, if I remember right, are the only 3 teams to have ever won the Portuguese League. So good stuff for Aves there, winning the title. We can also just have a quick look at the Serbian Super League for any Serbians out there that are interested. They've got a strange league system, haven't they? They're in their preliminary phase at the moment. If we just have a look at the past winners of the competition for the fans out there, Partizan did win it, which is a team that I do recognise. Spartak won it a couple of times as well. But really, let's go and have a look at the world page and see all the big transfers that have been taking place. And you can see Barcelona now, the most reputable club in the world, which is something we see a bit more familiar, but then it's all Swedish teams afterwards. At the moment, Neymar, the biggest player in the world, with Isco at Marseille, De Bruyne still at Spurs, Eden Hazard now at Karlslands. I think he has switched clubs a few times, Eden Hazard. He was at Sirius, which he joined on a free. Then he went to Nice for 7 million. They then sold him back to Sweden for £57 million. Griezmann now at Real Madrid. He is hopping all over the place at the moment. Moved there for just 16 million. A big loss there for the Swedish team that bought him. Harry Kane is at Port Vale, and one of the world's best players. He's had a weird career in the Vanarama North, with Harrogate after leaving Kidderminster. He then went to Yeovil for 46.5 million, who apparently don't even have a league. How is that the case? They have dropped so far down now that they are absolutely out of the game. Don't even have a league. Then he went to Port Vale for £97 million. good goal scoring record, and he's finally made it into the Premier League with Port Vale, helping them get promoted, and he's back in the big time. We've got Bernardo Silva and Dybala at PSG. All of these big players seem to be at big clubs now. It is definitely balancing out, you have to say. If we look at the transfers and go back through the months, we want to go back to sort of September time. Let's just look for the big name transfers. Not a big name, or certainly not a name I'm familiar with. Robson Brown as well. Who on earth are you? 18-year-old regen, going for 98 million to Sheffield Wednesday. Coutrone going for 74 million. Just the big money signings that I'm really interested in here. I want to see if there's a £200 million signing anywhere. Actually, was that on there? That's 120 million. 107 million there. 151 million for Zivkovic from Barcelona to Nice. 118 million. 129 million for Robson Brown, who's actually doing the rounds, isn't he, Robson Brown? That regen. Started at Cheltenham, went to Birmingham. 129 million transfer to Yeovil, who then sold him for just 98 million. Yeovil have been picking up all kinds of players, despite not actually being in the league. If we have a look at that, they let 190 million go out. 79 million. What happened this year? 308 million pounds spent, but 414 million going out. What on earth is that? Harry Kane, Sterling, Fernandes, Camacho, Butland, a good team there. They are massive spenders, Yeovil. No wonder they've bottomed out at the moment when they're like that. Let's have a look at their finances a minute. They do still have a huge amount of money and a back-end sugar daddy still in place. So interesting that Yeovil are on a kind of run like that. If we have a look at the Champions League for the last 2 years and see who the biggest team in Europe are, it is currently held by Barcelona, which is interesting. If we have a look at the... we need to drop back another year, don't we? Drop back to last year and then go to the final. You can see they did win it from Arsenal, a repeat of that final, but on penalties this time. Juve and Nice, the other teams in the semis, and Burnley knocked out at the quarter-final stage. The following year, Burnley again knocked out at the quarter-final stage by Everton, who they seem to be in a bit of a battle with. Semi-finals, PSG and Barcelona went through, and in the final, won by PSG. And obviously the year before that we saw Burnley win it. So no surprise winners of the Champions League up to now other than Burnley. But no lower league teams progressing far enough to do damage in the Champions League. And finally we have a non-Swedish winner of the Europa League. Liverpool coming to take that after Mjällby, I think, won it from Arsenal the year before, but Liverpool have beaten Malaga. So a more familiar lineup in the final of the Europa League this year. So changes there. The other thing that I do want to have a quick look at is the Golden Ball. And if we have a look who's been winning that, there's actually not too much of a surprise here. Messi won it 2017 with Crystal Palace. And then De Bruyne won it with Spurs ahead of Luis Suarez and Cristiano Ronaldo. He then won it again from Dybala and Ronaldo once more. Then Neymar has come through for Arsenal ahead of Messi and Dybala, and this time he won it from Son Heung-min, of all people, who's at Barcelona, and Dybala there as well. So I think that is going to be it for this episode. Next time out, we're going to go 5 years into the future. I'm not going to look at the lower leagues in too much detail until we're further ahead, and I mean much further ahead, because it's going to take quite a bit of time for any real rebalance between the other leagues that would be noticeable to me and to you. So next time out, we'll just go through the big leagues again and the big players, because after the next 5 years, a lot of the big players will be gone and we'll be dealing with regens, and then it's just looking at the wider picture of how the league rebalances, the money, the Champions League spots, all of that as that catches up over time, and the new world order of football. But like I said at the start of this episode, do let me know in the comments if there are things you want to see. Probably not in the next episode, which I'll record straight after this one, I'm afraid, or as soon as it's ready, actually, because I still need to go forward 5 years. But certainly for the one after, if we do go for that far forward. But also let me know how far forward you would like this to go. Drop a like on the video if you do want to see more from this experiment, and make sure to subscribe. The new video should be out in a couple of days time. You can also go and check out my website and the new forum that is on that website for talking all things Football Manager, link in the description, as are the links to Twitter and Patreon if you would like to support the channel on those platforms. But until next time, see ya.